Hello, I'm Commissioner Mike McKeon, and I'd like to welcome everyone to yet another episode of the Public Works Pipeline. With me today, as usual, is our Public Works Director, Paul McElhaney. Paul, thanks for joining today.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning.
Good morning. Today we're going to talk about a little bit of a fall update and some other issues that are coming up. And to help us along the way, I've got Public Works mailbag here with some questions and stuff. So.
I'm always a mess.
Yeah, sorry if I spilled some things on
We'll get it cleaned up.
Yeah.
That's what we normally do.
Right. Our first question here, though, this comes from a Regina George from Penn Valley, and she says, I write with a little grace and compassion to ask that you please never hold another telethon. So first of all, she says she writes with a little grace. I don't think you can have a little grace. You either have grace or you don't have grace. You can't acquire grace. So I don't know if her and her plastic friends know a thing about the telethon, but I really could kind of care less about her comments.
Well, you know, I think ratings went down after the telethon. I'm just saying, Mike. So there might be some reason to her comments.
Right. No, that's true. And I just, I know the ratings went down arguably, and no funds were raised, but we don't need, in my opinion, her patronizing comments here to sort of kick us while we're down yet again.
Okay.
Like, well, I can buy myself flowers. I can write my name in the sand. I don't need someone like her to come out and make comments like this. But
we're all loud. We're all loud.
Hopefully here this has a little more to do with township topics here. This next comes from Jack Torrance. He's the caretaker of the Belmont Hills Community Center. He says, I'm the new caretaker of the Belmont Hills Community Center. How did the 2023 refuse and recycling program work out? I think he's actually always been the caretaker.
No. There's a gentleman that's been there for many years as the caretaker.
Maybe he's not Jack Torrance is not the
Jack
caretaker.
is not the caretaker. So
he may be someplace in Denver. He may be there out west. He's the caretaker.
Yeah, I think he may be misleading you with that.
Yeah. All right. So we'll strike that part from it here. So, but anyway, so actually talking to now Public Works issues here. So the waste disposal recycling for the year end, it looked like we had 16,000 tons of regular trash that were disposed of last year.
Yeah, that's about where we are. It fluctuates. We had an increase when COVID. We had a definite increase because everybody was home. But yeah, we and one of the issues with that is we started talking about the solid waste fund and the possible fees for that, and
we'll get to that with the next question, which
okay. All right. So
with the waste, right? There's a tipping fee.
There's a tipping fee,
and
currently for us to dispose of our solid waste, it's $90.77 a ton to get rid of it.
And where does that go?
The actual refuse goes to the Cavana Trash to Steam Plant in Plymouth Meeting.
And then we also get rid of our commingled, so that's refuse. And then for recycling, we have commingled and paper.
Correct.
Where does our commingled go?
Okay, so as you know, we're dual stream, two different things. So our commingle is handled by Mascaro and Sons. They take that product and they then process it and separate it and then sell it off as needed, to whoever their buyers are. So that goes to Mascaro and Sons.
I know we've talked about this before about the commingled market. As in terms of a commodity, it's kind of fluctuated a lot. We almost always pay a little bit to get rid of the commingled. Now we're paying a pretty sizable figure to get rid of it.
We are. It's been an interesting last year or so. At one point, for the first time in history, we actually received a few dollars per ton. We received about $8 or $9 per ton, which was totally, like I said, non-historical.
And that was like 21, 22, sort of supply chain problem era,
right after that.
Okay.
Because there was a point where we paid dearly because China wasn't accepting anymore. And so everybody was paying dearly, and then it went down and we were getting paid. Now it's back up, and we can be paying in excess of over $100 a ton to dispose of it currently.
So for anybody listening at home who's been writing, taking notes, they would have written down when you said $90.77 per ton to dispose of regular waste. We actually pay upwards of $100 per ton to dispose of commingled recycling. So they may be, oh my gosh, why are we paying more money now to get rid of commingled recycling than we already just dispose of regular waste?
Well, it's the right thing to do. The
Right.
recycle, save for tomorrow. But also, we are mandated by the state and the DEP that we have to recycle. So, we as Lower Merion Township, we always do the right thing and what we're held accountable for. There have been, in the newspaper in the last couple of years, there have been some other communities that haven't followed that and have gotten themselves into a lot of hot water because they were disposing of their recycling as normal waste, and that's a big no-no. And when our residents, some of them heard of that and they thought it was us. Are we doing that? No, we do not do that. We never would do that. We forecast, we bill accordingly to cover those costs.
And I think too that with the commingled, there's just a lot of product that's built up over years. China, I think, isn't accepting as much product. So the answer is, I think, it's just to use less and reuse what you use, as opposed to putting it in the yellow bin. I mean, that's better than regular waste for a lot of reasons, but we have a very poor return on it. We pay a lot to get rid of it, and it is just sitting there. So, one thing everybody can do is just use less and reuse more, so that we limit our footprint.
Well, also, if you're recycling, make sure that your paper is not going in the trash, that your paper's going into the paper bin. If that can, that whatever container, make sure you're separating it down so that the commingle is as clean as possible.
And so, as you said, we have a dual stream recycling. You just mentioned paper. We pay to get rid of the waste. We pay to get rid of the commingle. We actually do receive money for paper.
We
right?
do receive money. As you noted earlier, it's a commodity market. So we keep dual stream. We get paid for our paper, that separated paper. At one point, we were getting paid well over $100 and some a ton. And right now, we've kind of gone almost down to our bottom at this point. Pricing wise, we do have a bottom floor where they have to pay us a given amount. So when COVID was here, it was through the roof because all the cardboard from all the little smiling boxes that everybody received and all that. I guess there's been an influx, but none of us are experts in the commodities market. So right now we're low. Those monies help offset our trash fee. We use those monies in part of our calculations for figuring out what the fee should be for the residents.
And again, that'll be the next question. I think that I'm going to read will be about the solid waste fee, but we'll see. Everyone, hang on. But to your point about the paper, I think in 2019 we got $23 per ton for paper. 2022. $101 per ton, so 5 times as much more, and that was an increase in revenue of about $250,000.
Correct.
So that offset a lot of the figures with the solid waste fee, helped keep it down during that time period.
Correct. That's why we didn't experience a fee increase during that period.
Right. And now just a couple things here on with our paper that goes to a plant in Philadelphia.
Yeah, that goes to Newman Paper. They process it. They come out. They pick it up. They process it, and every other week we pick that up.
And because we do a dual stream, then it's only paper, and that makes a cleaner product, right?
And that's why we get paid more premium for our paper than many other people.
So when people come out and say we should throw everything together in the same can,
because if you think about it, you would then, if you threw it in the same can, we would lose that couple $100,000 to $400,000 in revenue. And then we would pay for that additional weight in the commingle, which you already noted that right now is well above what we pay for regular refuse. So you would, have a serious net loss.
All right, and just in terms of a couple quick refuse tips, right? Plastic bags. Some
people, no plastic bags in your recycling, please. It clogs the machinery at the commingle plant, and then when they go to give us a price, if our products are dirty, what they call dirty, they will charge us, or they will bid us with a little bit more of a premium because they know they have to do additional work with our product.
And needles, right? That can be problematic.
Needles, please use the red container, or if you don't have the red container, take a soda bottle, a 2-liter soda bottle, place the needles in there, seal it up, protect those people that have to reach in and take care of your recycling.
And how about cardboard boxes on recycling day? What do you?
Please don't stack them and create the new Egyptian pyramids in Lower Merion. If you can break them down, place them inside of another box. That way staff's able to come by, pick them up, throw them right into the truck, and continue on.
And then if residents help save staff time, staff can do their job more quickly and pick up more of the recycling.
Correct,
too.
and we can do a cleaner, more efficient job.
And one of the nice amenities Lower Merion has as part of its refuse and recycling program, we have fall cleanup weekend.
Yes, we do.
So that looks like it's October 14th to the 15th this year?
Yes.
And that's at the Kegel Complex, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. for township residents. And then the other event, October 22nd, household hazardous waste. And I'm sure that the Lower Merion Television will put up a little bit of a graphic here to explain more, but that's October 22nd.
Correct.
I think you have to pre-register to get rid of
You
household.
do, but that's where you can get rid of your hazardous waste, your gasoline, your turpentine, your furniture stripper, all that stuff. They're the items that we will not accept at our open house, but the county does once a year for the residents.
But nuclear waste, plutonium, dead bodies, there are things we can't get rid of on the 22nd.
No, there are things we definitely can't.
All right.
So.
Well, we're just about here for a break, so I think it's a good time to actually ask one more question and kind of end on a little bit of a sort of a cliffhanger.
Okay, here we go.
This is from a Tony Montana from Gladwin, and he says, "I'm a new township resident from Cuba with a lot of stuff to get rid of. One of the cleanup weekends." We actually just answered that question. Sorry, Mr. Montana. Next question's from a Tommy from the Belmont Hills Pinball Club. Tommy says, "You guys sure play a mean solid waste fee. How do you do it?"
It's all about my generation.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to come back and answer that question in a little more detail. So please don't go anywhere. You'll regret leaving for the rest of your life. So please hang on, and we'll be back in a couple minutes. Hi, welcome back to the Public Works Pipeline. I'm Commissioner Mike McKeon. I'm here with Paul McElhaney, and those of you who survived through the break, I appreciate you, and I'm sure Paul does, hanging on and sticking around with us. We were talking about the solid waste fee, or solid waste fund, I guess. You can't spell fun, F-U-N, without fund in it, and so we were, I guess if you can explain this, Paul, how does it work generally?
All right, so just to start off, just to get, as you said, it's a fund. So we have it as an enterprise fund, and that's policy of the township, which means that anybody who uses it, that fund has to be self-supporting. So any of the expenses that are generated have to cover the cost to run that division, the solid waste. So when we look at the fee that people pay, it is based on what it would cost to provide that service, along with free dump weekends, the composting, all the ancillary things that you get along with your trash being picked up on a weekly basis.
And then you pay a different rate based on how many cans you use, right?
Correct. There's a tiered system.
All right, so there's about 17,000 users that we have who buy into that system, and historically, from about 2010 to 2020, that tier system, TIER, was 8 or 9 tiers, right?
Correct. Correct.
Caused
complicated,
maybe caused some TEAR.
Yes, it may. I think it did, especially with staff trying to keep track of all the different levels and people, the guys out in the trucks, trying to make sure that people are in compliance with all the different.
And then 2021, Commissioner Andy Gavin, who some viewers may know, he has a third-rate show on Lower Merion Television and often follows the Public Works Pipeline. But in addition to that third-rate television show, he also created what some people will refer to now as the Gavin system, which reduced the tiers and kind of simplified everything.
Yes, he probably shed a few tiers while he created it also, but he shed some of those 9 tiers also. And
as reluctant that I'm to say, it was actually, I think it was a very successful system, and it reduced it from 8 or 9 tiers to the mini can, to the standard system, which was 1 or 2 cans, or the enhanced version, which was 3 or 4 cans. So it was just those 3 tiers. You couldn't have 8 or 9 cans or whatever else people had before.
No, it eliminated that. It made it much more simpler for staff to know when they went to a home who was in compliance, who was not in compliance. It's much simpler. Much easier.
The other thing too is it actually ended up saving residents a lot of money, which was fantastic. 2018, the rate for 2 cans was $368. It jumped to $405 for 2019, remained at $405 for 2020. And as a result of the Gavin system, the standard rate, again, it's for 1 or 2 cans, which is what practically 80% of the township residents have, that 1 or 2 can system. It went down to $380, and it stayed at $380 until now. So
right,
that's right. 3 years at $380.
Right, and with working with our finance department, our director of finance, we've looked at the fund, and as I noted earlier, it has to be self-sufficient. Has to be, and we as we talked about earlier, the commodity markets, with what our current tipping fee for our general refuse, and what our fee is for our commingle, what we're paying monthly, and the downturn in the market for what we're getting paid for paper, we've had a big impact on our revenue, and it's reflected in our forecast for the out years, for the upcoming years.
Right, as we discussed in the first segment, paper, the delta there in revenue was $250,000 more that we got in 2022 than 2019. So if that dips, you have to make up for that somewhere. And for a user, a fund, it's an enterprise fund that's just done based on the user fees. Unfortunately, that can be a reason for the rates to increase.
Right, and the fund does have a reserve. It's a policy and or a recommendation, and staff along with the commissioners, with discussion of the fee schedule, is looking at use of some of that fund balance to help offset or soften the increase.
But it looks like right now there will be an increase for next year. The commissioners have tentatively talked about something about approximately 10% increase, which was very common a decade ago or so that would happen. It's just the way I think I'm very comfortable the last 4 or 5 years that not only had there not been an increase, but there were decreases in keeping the numbers down. So
correct.
When can residents expect to see anything about that?
Well, the board has to take action in the upcoming month, and then before the end of the year, you'll receive your along with I think your tax bill or whatever it is, you'll receive your subscription level, at which time you'll see the whatever increase may have been approved by the Board of Commissioners, and at that time again you get to review whether you want mini can, standard or enhanced. You have that opportunity to change your subscription level if your lifestyle has changed and you have more or less refuse.
And that's a great point there, that if someone says, oh my gosh, the solid waste fee went up $20, what am I going to do? Well, actually, if you can reduce your waste, if you can go down from enhanced to standard, or go down from standard to a mini can, you can get in at a lower rate and you may actually pay less next year.
You can.
And then everyone benefits because you're getting rid of less waste, which is better for everyone.
But also understand that we've had some individuals that have thought it possible to go down in their level of service, and then we find that they're not able to do so. If we do find that they're at standard level and they are putting out 4 or 5 cans, 2, 3, 4 cans a week, we will then reach out to the finance department, who will ask for the offset to take you up to back up to the level that you need to be at.
Right.
Yeah, to cover the cost of the additional refuse.
I can understand that maybe you have an extra trash bag one day when it's a busy month,
right.
weekend.
If staff sees a consistent pattern every week, we're back to 4 cans, then yes, it's not working out.
But in terms of the trends, I mean, there has been a big decrease from 2022 to 2023 for the subscriptions. Minis were up by I think 44 subscriptions, standards were down by 8, and enhanced were down by 33. So we have seen a shift to the lower subscriptions.
Yeah, and also you have different dynamics. people move in, they have a different family dynamic than others. So it's always kind of a moving target, but yes, we are seeing people lower their refuse usage.
And moving on here, our next question here comes from Baba O'Reilly. Mr. O'Reilly writes, do the leaves we rake go into a leaf wasteland?
Well, I wouldn't say it's a, quote, leaf wasteland, but they do go to our composting facility, which is located at the western end of the township. If you've driven up Route 76, the expressway, and gotten on at Belmont Avenue and go out past Gladwin, on your right-hand side, you'll see these long rows. There are windrows. That's where we take our leaves.
That's the bucolic 17-acre Waverly site.
Correct, correct. And staff we have a piece of machinery that turns them and rotates the leaves so that it helps break them down and turn them into the compost. And then from there, we will bring, some of it comes back to the Kegel complex for the residents to use. We keep the people in supply as needed. At that same site, we create topsoil that we use on projects and mulch and those type of products also. And
then a vendor comes and picks up the compost, right? How does that
work? Well, at the end of the season, we have an overabundance. And we actually run into not trouble, but it can be hard to get individuals to take it because it's not a finished product per se. It still needs some processing and all that. So they come, they take it. It'll get used for other projects throughout this region. It's been used to finish landfills to help break down things. There's multiple uses that the vendors take it from us for.
Right. All right. The next question we have here is from a Henry Hill. He's a union delegate for the Ballackinwood Zoo, which I don't think there is one. But
well, I think it was located kind of. I was going to say near your home, but I won't say that.
Yeah. There's been a lot of fake names here. I think with these letters that come in, we will not get fooled again.
No, we will not. No, we've been fooled. We've been fooled before.
Henry writes, "What were the results of the recent alien autopsies at the Kegel complex?" I don't know if that's something.
We've been renamed Area 51, and no such thing as aliens or anything of that nature. But we've changed the address to 51. That's all. That's all I'm at liberty to say.
Well, fair enough. And if you see some kind of odd characters there, I can assure you those are more than likely just township employees or maybe just folks taking waste to the dump.
That's all we can say.
Nothing to be seen here.
Nothing to be seen here.
The strange lights that you may see over the Kegel complex, those are actually those lights, I think, in Manayunk that are up,
Could be.
Right? Maybe?
Could be.
Okay. Fair enough. The last question here is from Lloyd Braun, and he says, what are you idiots doing about trees in the township?
Well, that's a very broad question.
Yeah.
Of what we're doing with trees. So our shade tree division handles well over 70,000 trees. They trim for safety. We're not manicuring the trees per se, but we trim for safety, keep them healthy. It's the right-of-way trees, and we do help with the Parks Department.
And we're working on 200 trees, right, through Shade Tree or coming in this year?
Well, what we do is we should be planting about a little over 200 trees. If you would like a tree planted in the right-of-way, you can reach out to our Shade Tree Division. They will come out and survey the right-of-way, make sure there's no utilities, overhead wires, or anything of those nature, and would gladly plant a tree within the right-of-way for you. It usually occurs in the fall planting season, but please reach out to our Shade Tree Division, and they will take a look for you.
Yeah, it's great. And one other last thing is I think there's an urban tree canopy assessment and management plan. We're sending out an RFP for that too, right?
Correct. And we're hoping that that'll allow us, give us good feedback, give us some additional guidance for the Shade Tree Department to work through, help identify areas that we may need additional plantings, those type of things.
Yeah. Excellent. All right, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. For Paul and I, we sincerely appreciate your time in watching us, and please check out our next show.
Thank you.